right. All right. All right. This is kendelllenice for reviews and news. This is a special reviews and news because Bobby Brown's his bio just aired on A&E, and I'm here to recap it. I have two special surprise guests. They don't know one another are on, and I'm going to bring them on. Let's get it. I'm so excited. All right. So Bobby Brown's documentary, his bio just aired on A&E. And I have two special Bobby Brown fans that are going to join me on this special episode of Reviews and News. So we're going to do it in parts. So it's in, I think, 4 parts. So we're going to do part 1, which is Birth and Rebirth. That just aired on A&E. Before I bring my guests on, let me just say I'm pumped, and they're going to come on pumped too. I saw so many different clips. Like, I was tearing up. Like, I used to dance on the show, Dancing on Air, but I wasn't on there when New Edition was on there. I mean, so many different parts, and just let me just bring my guests, because I'm excited right now. I have my notes, and one of my guests said they have their notes too. I got so many different pages of notes. I don't know what to do, but I'll just say that part 1 left off with Bobby Brown's Way, May 26th. It just passed. He got it last year. Is Bobby Brown Way. So I can't wait to maybe me and my guests, we go take some pictures in front of Bobby Brown Way. I'm sure they were already thinking it because I'm speaking for them. But let me bring on my first guest, and then I'm going to bring on my other. They don't know each other are here. There go one guest.
Hi, everybody.
And there go another guest. They didn't know one another were here.
Hey, my girl.
Yes. Any for life.
Surprise.
All day, every day.
Yes.
Surprise. I was like, we all love Bobby Brown. Yeah, we know other folks out there love Bobby Brown, but we 3 love him the most.
Yes.
Love, yes. Always love.
Come on now.
To the depth.
Yes. So let's talk about it. So the biography, Bobby Brown, the first part was Birth and Rebirth. It opens with Bobby talking about his dreams and seeing his son and daughter. So you already know it's getting ready. Like they say, it's finished. Yes. So he talks about that. He also talks about, this is even before it starts, not drinking and therapy. And he said confessions are good for the soul. So they start off in Roxbury, 1969. All right. So who was right? So who? Right. So who? So let's all first, before we even go into this, and we won't make it, too long. But let's first talk about when we started loving New Edition, because I was assigned to Bobby. I don't know if y'all know. My cousin Demarie, rest in paradise.
Rest in peace.
We went to go get the New Edition album. So first, a lot of people don't know, I lived in Boston before New Edition came out, and they would perform in the parks for free. But we didn't know, like, they didn't have an album. Candy Girl wasn't out, and like they talked about in the shows, a lot of talent shows. So I was so mad that the year before they came out, I moved to Jersey, right? So
that's so you could be a long distance lover, okay? Right, long distance lover.
So when Candy Girl came out, my cousin Demarie and I, we walked to Tower. What was it? Crown Records.
Crown Records.
New Jersey. Yes. We got it, and y'all remember it was like the single Candy Girl. It was just a white jacket. So we wrote all over it. She said Ralph was going to be her boo because he was a Taurus like her. And Bobby is your boo because he's the youngest of the group and you're younger than me. So ever since then, we were stuck together. Tell me when y'all started and recognized that Bobby was the one for you.
Well, you already know. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. So you already know
Facts.
when they came out, I was
Facts.
like, that one right there. He
Facts.
is mine. That's
Facts.
it.
Facts.
Wasn't no other. I didn't look any other way. It
You like
was
the pop
zoomed in on Bobby.
You was like the pop. You was like that one popping. I gotta have.
Yeah.
Bayseine, what about
Now, when I saw the gap
Yeah.
that
Which
went
one?
with the
Which
that went
one?
with the glass, that went with the black, the gap in the teeth. When I saw the gap in the teeth that went with the black, I'm like Temia. I was like the darker the berry, the sweeter juice. And it wasn't until I saw the album cover. I was listening to the music. Of course, I'm a lyrical. So I was listening to the different voices. And it wasn't until I saw the album cover that I chose Bobby. And it was the gap and it was the black. And then when I saw his name was Bobby, I'm like, B&B, that's me. Like, and all my girlfriends, everybody that I came across that loved New Edition knew it was me and Bobby.
Yes, I
The
love it.
black of the berry, the sweeter the juice, and if I ever got it with it, it was gonna get loose.
It was gonna get loose.
It was gonna get loose.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. Bobby was he's the people's champ, right? He always out. We saw that, and we're gonna go into the bio, but we saw that when he tied that tie
Thing around the tie around his head.
I ain't wearing that. Y'all look goofy. I'ma do me. But even on the album cover,
always did him.
Looked different.
He stood out.
He stood out.
Some people just have that. No matter what crowd they're in, who they're around, they're going to stick out and you're going to be drawn to that person. And Bobby has always been that person. And I was so happy that they showed some of the clips because a lot of people sleep. They thought that Ralph was doing all the singing. And we already know rumors like, oh, Ralph
we didn't have
Bobby's part.
Yes.
Ralph did a lot of singing.
Yes.
That him, Ricky, and Ralph all were similar. Their voices were very similar.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm glad they finally said that because that's like an argument that has been forever. Oh, Ralph was the singer. Ralph was the singer. No, I'm glad they pointed that out today.
Now, once I saw them perform, and I want to say it was American Bandstand. I think that was my first performance because I know Soul Train came after. But because I was so tuned into Bobby, everything after Candy Girl, I knew Bobby's voice.
Yeah,
right.
I knew when Bobby had a line, had a cough, had a had a
we knew.
I knew.
There, yes.
And there's a song called what's the one? It was on the B side. I think it was on the B side of Cool Now. Something. Oh my God, I can't think of it. Go ahead, Kendall. I'm gonna think of it.
You talking about She Give Me a Bang?
No. Good Boys.
Good Boys.
Oh,
okay.
Good Boys.
Yeah.
So
you hear him in that.
Ricky and Rouse wrote that, and I didn't know that for years because I didn't look at the album covers to read to see who did whatever. I say it was just whatever Bobby did. I knew. I wasn't looking at all that stuff.
Well,
but Good Boys.
Even then, because I used to love reading the album covers because I wanted to be nosy to see who did what.
Ain't
that
just a journalist? Just a journalist.
Album covers was for the back of the door with the hold-on magazines. That's what they was.
Let's talk about that. Tamia and I, y'all, we go back. Damn, shoot, 30. We go back to Little Girl.
Y'all go back like coffee.
Yes.
Tamia already been in my bedroom. I've been in hers. We already know what's up. Like it looked like wallpaper. Okay?
Yes.
I had New Edition everywhere. And Tamia and I both know. So when they showed the show Dancing on Air, so they seen you you probably went. It was a local show in Philly and South Jersey. So Dancing they showed 2 clips on that. And like I said in the beginning, when I was 14, I danced on that show on TV, but I wasn't on there with New Edition clearly because y'all would have saw me. I'd have been
like this.
Y'all would have saw me. Like, seeing that clip to me, what was that like seeing Dancing on Air?
Listen, as soon as it went across, I'm in the room with someone that's not familiar with. I was like, oh my God, Dancing on Air. Dancing on Air.
Yeah, because then it later went to Dance USA, which was nationally. So Dance USA went on USA Network, and then people started knowing what it was. But Dancing on Air was local. So it's like one of those things, if you know, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
And see, my local was considered BET.
Oh yeah.
Anything BET.
Right.
Yeah. And if I wasn't looking at it, knew about it, somebody called me.
Right.
Yeah.
So anything BT was going on, and I didn't have cable, so I would literally go to my girlfriend's house across the street.
Somebody's house.
It was out of DC. Even though it was national, it was out of DC.
It was out of DC.
Exactly. Yeah. And I literally knocked on her door at least on 2 occasions. Street lights was already on, so she's trying to figure out. Why is she knocking on my door? Street lights on. We know we're supposed to be on our porch or in the house.
Right. Like the older people used to say, the Supremes is on. It was like New Edition is on.
New Edition is on.
The Temptations, anything like that. And see, I grew up in a home where my mother, my biological mother, she, Kendall, she was, the Temptations, all of that. So that was exciting for them. And like you said, for us, listen, all bets off. Listen,
it was
all bets off. And what was the record store across the street in the shopping center?
Oh,
that's where I used to go get my record
shopping center.
Yes, Colin used to own it. Oh my God, I can't think right now. But remember, that's where I used to go.
About that.
That's the one I used to go in and thumb through all the records to find.
Man,
I don't even know what record store name was at Heck of Jamal at the time, but that was my go-to place when it came to all things albums and banners and posters. Like all I remember was a guy named Steve. I don't want to say it was Kent Mill. I don't think it was Kent Mill. It was another name record store, but Kent Mill was the known one in the metropolitan area.
Probably
right, y'all. Steve, DC, like I know that.
Steve was my go-to guy at the record store that I used to go to, and like clockwork, at least once or twice a month.
Awesome.
If something spent off about New Edition or Bobby,
right there.
He knew I was going to be there when he opened.
Yep.
And don't let it be summertime. Don't let it be summertime when I'm out of school.
Man, I'm telling you. So, Temia, you would be able to appreciate that. All the people in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and South Jersey, shout out to y'all. I was so mad because my mother would not let me go to Club Harlem.
The Club Harlem.
Club Harlem in Atlantic City. It was a lounge club. And all the grown-ups would be in there. But New Edition was coming to perform. Yes. And I begged and I pleaded. I was like, but it's not going to be.
I think our mother spoke.
I think it was like 11. No, maybe like 11.
Yes, it didn't matter. My mom was like, no, I danced there. You're not going to Club Harlem.
Right.
We could, that probably was the most devastating for us. I think that was the most devastating for us. Absolutely.
So let me give y'all some background. Her mother and grandmother was strict. Mine was too. We only could spend the night over each other's house because we knew that each other's mother didn't play.
Yes.
So that Club Harlem, I mean, this is when they first came out with Candy.
Yes.
And I wanted to go so bad.
Yes.
And I could not go to Club Harlem. That would have been my first concert.
If you remember, so not my first, but I snuck off to see them with Keith Sweat. And I'll never forget it. I got the beating of a lifetime.
It was worth it.
It was what? It was
so worth it.
I actually sprained my ankle because I stood on the chair, and remember the chairs used to collapse. You know how chairs collapse?
Yes.
So I stood on the chair and fell in between, and it collapsed, and I sprained my ankle. I would have never gotten in trouble had I not sprained my ankle, because the young lady who I was with, her mother she thought I could go. She thought I had permission. You know how I was, Kendall, back in the day. She thought I had permission.
You was gonna get what you wanted to get when you wanted to.
Sneaking and conniving.
Instead of struggling to survive and sneaking and conniving.
Listen, when Bobby said he got thrown out of every school, me too. Look, I was just raising my hand. Me too. Wear what I want, do what I want, go where I want. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, see, I was meant to be with Bobby.
Rebel, right? Because you got the rebel, and then it's like, all right. So let's get into it. All right. So they talk about, okay, let's start in the beginning when Bobby said he was on the little bus and he had the helmet
With
on.
the helmet
He
on.
would hear music in his ear. Y'all talk about that. Bobby said, Bobby kept it real. He said, I just wasn't on any bus.
I was on the little bus.
I was special.
And then they showed that picture.
Now, because I'm recording it, I've been looking at just bits and pieces, but I'm literally taking off Wednesday because I got to take care of some business about my house. But come 5 p.m.
You gonna watch it again?
Wednesday.
You're gonna talk about it again.
From 5 to 9. It's my time.
Exactly.
Mama gonna be fed. I don't know what Joe gonna do.
It's Flash B time.
Exactly.
But literally, when it comes to Bobby, I tell people, new people that I meet, I love New Edition. They'll always be near and dear to my heart. But when Bobby left the group, I followed Bobby. And I've been following Bobby ever since.
Who was
so
mad?
There's nothing that
I'm still mad. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? He wasn't
say that.
I was like, your voice is too low. You weren't here at first. I don't like the fact, even though you came in to replace Ralph.
I accepted Johnny
from DC
because I wasn't following them.
Oh
yeah.
So
yeah.
I didn't. Johnny was never really a thought to me because I was on Bobby.
Because remember,
like, it was me and Bobby, and when Bobby started doing his own, like, matter of fact, what's that? Earth Angel.
Or I need a girlfriend.
I only paid attention to the 4.
He was singing to me.
Because I had a girlfriend that liked Ronnie DeVoe. That's the only reason why I ever paid attention to the 4.
Well, you know that I know Ronnie DeVoe, right?
Right. Look, you know I interviewed him. Look. Disclaimer. You know I interviewed him and his wife. You know they're my friends, right?
Yes. You know that Ronnie had to tell Shamari how to say my name, right? But that's a whole nother story.
Listen, I just wanted to say this, like in the beginning, the part that I love that they said, it's not a bad kid, just an environment where bad things were going on.
Yes, Mike said that.
Yes, that was, that stood out to me because, he has this bad boy image. But when he talked about
childhood
where
trauma,
that began,
childhood,
correct.
Temia, how many times we talk about childhood?
Yes, because think about it. He saw his mother, authorities who we're supposed to trust. He saw his mother be hit, and he said it from then on. By the police.
By the
ones that we're supposed to trust. He said at that point, authority meant nothing to him.
And then a priest,
and
who
then
the authority of the church.
Exactly. So again, when we start, because we mentor and you're a remix coach and you're you're doing those therapeutic things. When you start saying, I hate when people say those kids are bad. They're not bad. They come from sometimes come from bad situations. And it's something internally.
It's a seed. It's a seed that's planted.
I worked in elementary school, and the kids confided in me, and then I put something on Facebook. It broke my heart. This boy told me, I'm a Scorpio. And that's how we are. We're aggressive, we're angry, and I'm going to end up in 2 places, dead or in jail. He's 10 years old. He told me that. And I said, ho. And he said, because I'm a Scorpio, you know how you are. So who filled your mind saying a Scorpio is trouble?
Yes.
He told me that. I watched his mouth move. He confided in me. And I said, God, I don't even going to get started on that. I'm like, God got me there for a reason because they talked to me.
Yes.
And it floors me. So if you take somebody like that and you take Bobby and put that in, and somebody is feeding you something or you're seeing something, then that's what you're going to. If somebody tells you that you're slow, or somebody tells you that you're this, or somebody does that stuff.
Correct. Listen, I remember having the opportunity, which thanks to you, I was able to, of course, meet him and his wife, Bobby and his wife. And I remember saying to her, how amazing, you remember that, telling her how amazing she was, because number one, when you come into a mentality of a man who already is there, he's full-fledged in the mentality that he's in. she has to be an amazing woman
Yeah.
just to even be able to
Yeah.
go through that with him. It's just amazing. Because
her
he saw
personality is like no nonsense,
Correct.
which helps you because it
Correct.
sets boundaries.
Correct. But
Exactly.
he started off with that. Because if you remember, he was like, I couldn't go to my mom, I couldn't
Mhm.
go to my dad.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
think about it. He grew up in, it was funny because he was like, they were by all means necessary parents. It didn't matter. So
Yeah.
he took everything he saw, he took the by all means necessary mentality, and it was just a ball of mess in his brain. He
Yeah.
couldn't do nothing but be, I mean,
It's
he
deep.
could, but it's deeper than what people see. And I thank God, I just thank myself every day that I really get to know who he is. People, I hear it all the time. This is another part that stood out. They said the groupies that somebody's grandmom is. I did like this. I said,
wait, let me get quote. Oh, mama was a freak. Johnny Gill, quote, end quote.
Yes. Look, I did like this.
Somebody because somebody was doing the do behind a speaker on the stage. Somebody, and that's somebody's grandmama right now.
Listen, I went like this. He said somebody's grandmama. I said, I fell out.
But it's so,
I fell out.
Ain't no telling what I would have done if I was that girl in the Tenderoni video.
I know what I would have done.
She pissed. She with her nerdy self.
Yeah, she was stiff.
He needed me up there to make you go because I would have made him go
yes,
and I would have made him go body yada 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 right there on stage.
Now, y'all, if you're Bobby Brown fans, you know exactly what we're talking about. It was a concert video, and he pulled the girl. She had the shorts and like the turtleneck, pretty girl, but he was like, make you say.
And he said, what we about to do, you ain't gonna need that sweater, that coat, or nothing else. I wouldn't even come up there with no sweat on.
Listen, nothing.
But you know what? We can say anything we want about that girl, but she was up there and we weren't.
She's somewhere talking about that was me.
I've always envied her. I've always envied her. And speaking of Bobby and his lyrics, I literally had to reveal to my husband tonight. Bobby wasn't only the soundtrack to my life. He was a soundtrack to my heart.
You already know.
When I hear any love song, my favorite song is All Day and All Night. The lyrics in that has always captivated me and always made me want a man to tap into that of me.
That's deep. That's
and
true.
So unknowingly, Joe tapped into the tenderoni in me that I kept hearing. I kept hearing in my mind. And so the giddiness about my husband is the giddiness that I have for Bobby.
Yeah.
And only God could orchestrate that Leo man coming into my life.
Yeah.
because I couldn't have Bobby.
Yes. Let me tell you about these two women. I love them both. They're my sisters. Bayseine, I met. Well, Bobby put me and Bayseine together.
Yes, Bobby brought us together.
Met Bayseine at where I ended up hosting Bobby Brown's book signing, right?
Yes.
At Barnes and Nobles in DC.
And I already knew she was a fan because we was the first ones there. It was crickets. Nobody was there. Me, her, Chanel. Hey, Chanel. And
I was number 6. He was number
6, and me and Chanel were like 2 or 3. And then it was hundreds after. So we were there hours before. But I saw this lady with 95,000 million buttons on. And I was like, who is this weirdo? Like, she looking like a military vest with all these buttons. I was like, this lady is strange.
That was my armor of Bobby.
It was. And you already know, Temia, how Bayseine is.
Yes.
So imagine meeting her for the first time. And then she already got these buttons on. And I was like, who is this lady? But then the more I talk to her and the more I connect, it's just, how, so Bayseine has a bigger than life personality. She has a I don't want to lack of better words, like an odd sense of funny humor. Like she's funny and she's her, uniquely her. That's the best way I can describe you in a great way. And I'm attracted to that. I'm attracted to people who are unapologetically who they are.
Who they are.
And that's what basically
what you see is what you get.
Right. And it is. And it's funny because you got to first figure it out. Like, is she joking? Is she serious?
Right.
Because she got that sense of humor.
Right. But
and
straight
it's like,
face.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I had to try to figure her out. But then I fell in love with her. And then, of course, with Bobby. So with Bayseine, and later on when the movie came out, the New Edition story, she had ended up winning tickets to one of the movie premieres of the first night of the New Edition story. So she invited me, and I went, and I got to tell New Edition what Bayseine just said. Like, you guys are like the soundtrack of our lives, and every woman in there,
fabric.
Yes, of our lives, and that's how they are. So with Temia, y'all know I've known her
gazillion years.
What? 30 something, 40, is it like almost 40 years, really?
It's probably 40 now.
And we had the opportunity to go see New Edition at their Hollywood Walk of Fame star, which is like huge. So when I'm saying all of this, I'm saying that we for real family of New Edition. Like, we not just new to this, like we really are true to this. So with that being said, who else was hurt that Johnny, Ricky, Ronnie, and Mike were all a part of this, and Ralph wasn't?
Yeah. So you really have to watch, though, to understand that. Like, you really have to be an NE for life to understand, hey, where's Ralph? Like, after the first few minutes of the show, I was like, yeah.
And then when Johnny came on, I was
I'm like, exactly. I just thought Ralph was going to pop up. We don't know what the second, one's going to look like tomorrow. But I think what I love about it, and what I love about them, even through the older interviews, there was not a lot of back kicking in, because even when they like interviewed with Donnie Simpson, they were like, he's sick. You know what I'm saying? And they like, sick in the head. They said that,
Donnie Simpson was trying to be shady, but he
was trying to be shady. But again, in my opinion, they never really, they were mad, they were frustrated. But that would be any human. You and I, me and Bayseine, you get mad, you frustrated, you say some things, but they always try to maintain until they couldn't. There were times where they couldn't, because Bobby was being Bobby, doing him. They fighting in the back behind the speakers. Those were incidents that you knew happened, because there's no brothers and sisters that don't argue. There's no cousins that don't argue. So again, they were going through the motion as family, because they spoke about it. They said they spent so much time together that they were closer than even their own blood.
Family. Yep, Ricky said
know what I mean? Yeah. Because they spent so much time together. So I think that speaks on the character of Ralph.
I agree.
Because that, to me, no matter what.
And he kept them together. Remember the movie? He was like, our brothers ain't doing it, I ain't doing it.
Correct. So I'm a little hurt behind that. Is that you guys went this far?
Me too.
I'm thinking that during the time
that
this was started, that they started doing this, interviewing with him, that it was before they even had the tour signed off on.
Well, let me explain something. Wait a minute, Bayseine, give me 1 second. Let me explain for those that don't know. We know back stuff, so let me just explain it. So RBRM, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike, they were a group. Right after the New Edition story aired, New Edition was supposed to go on tour to ride on that wave, because now the younger generation loved New Edition and all of that. And Ralph was waiting. He put his solo tour off because all 6 were going to do it. Yeah. So he felt slighted because Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike end up doing it and signed the contract. And that's not what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be all 6. So then Ralph he talks about this also on All Black Network, his special one. So it's called So you got to look at that. So he breaks it down. So he was salty. So he wasn't talking to them because he said he was hurt. And you could see it in his face. And when he talked about it. So then Ralph and Johnny, who have 2 singles together, they started going on tour because they was like, okay, so what we supposed to do? Just sit around?
Right.
So he felt that they didn't clear up what they needed to clear up, and they didn't honor what they said because no ink was on the contract. So when they showed Johnny in the bio, they showed Johnny, Ricky, and Bobby, and that was on Bobby's Instagram last year, like May 2021.
Yes.
So they were filming, and then, like Bayseine said, it was before the culture tour. But what Ralph did say in his personal bio, he said, I don't want to say too much, but because they had been working on a deal for Vegas to be a house for years, and he was like, that's happening, and we are going to get back together for a tour. So I'm hoping, like y'all, that it was before they were able to. But I feel like they, over all the editing, they could have squeezed him in there somewhere. They just put him in there like a little blast.
It's not over. So we're gonna hope for the best. It's not over.
But the fact that all their young footage has Ralph in it, to me, Ralph is still a part of it. Because Ralph could be salty and say, "Look, don't add my face."
Right.
When you do your thing.
No.
You know, but
like Temia said, but the love of the brotherhood, they would never stop him from doing what he needs to do to tell his story.
Never.
That's right.
Never. All of these pieces that are coming out, the new edition story, Bobby's bio, Ralph talk, all of these pieces that are coming out, you know, it's not a lie and it's not fabricated because it all pretty much they are saying the same thing, even when they were not a team. When they were separated, they still all resulted back to the same story. You know what else stood out to me, Kendall? Did you listen to the part where he says he wished he received sexual guidance?
Yes. All right. We could talk about that. Was towards the end. We could just skip around. Go ahead. Talk about it.
No, I'm just saying that was deep for me.
That was.
Because
and he looked in the camera. Did you see when he said that?
Straight in the camera. And if you think about a lot of these young girls or boys, because we always say it's, you know,
all of us, really
correct. I have this thing where people say men are dogs. I'm like, women just get away with some things, some more than, you know. But again, for him to say that and wish that he could have done it differently, and the point that I love that woman, I can't remember which one it was. Right offhand, I didn't write her name down. From Sirius XM. Correct. She pointed out that he loved his children. Yeah, he loved his children.
But we knew that. Because we followed him. We knew that.
I have gotten to arguments many a time for Bobby, and then I remember somebody came to me.
And speaking of arguments, when I met Kendall, I consider her my kindred spirit through Bobby Brown. Because when we were arguing with people about Whitney and about how he loved her and how we accepted Whitney because it's who he chose with his heart, but we knew the way he looked at her. We knew the way he spoke about her. That and so for anyone to try to put Bobby in any kind of derogatory way, like you would think me and Kendall was his side pieces when we was at that book signing, because we were defending him like we were Whitney.
We were like his bodyguards. We was defending him, and Bobby smelled. Let me tell you something. Bobby smelled amazing.
He smelled and felt. Kendall, you know that I stayed there to the end.
I'm mad she said smell and felt.
Smell and felt.
Because I stayed there to the end.
I'm with Bayseine.
I said, Bobby, can I get a hug? And he was like, sure. And when he said sure,
another hug, right?
Like, thank you. Like, you just don't know. If I wasn't married, you just don't know I wasn't married. But when he hugged me, I even started defending him after that. When people was like, oh, you know, you still like him as big as he got. I said, duh. That's
Well,
not fat.
Let's
That's
talk about
solid.
this.
I
And
touched it.
if you ain't on
That's
drugs,
solid.
and if you're trying to get clean, you are going to gain weight
That's
because
what you
now
gonna
food
do.
is your vice. Because
That's
you
Thank
already
you.
can cook well. You already got Bobby Brown food. This is what you've done since you were little. Of course, you're going to pick up another vice. I'd rather him get fat and be healthy and not be
He wasn't fat. No, Kendall, don't say he was fat. He was thick.
Fluffy.
He was thick.
Fluffy.
Whatever I rub all on it.
His physical feeling did not feel like fat. It was solid. It was solid and thick.
Yeah.
It was solid and thick.
It was just so good, amazing points. I mean, some good points that was just said.
So let's talk
he smelled
about
good and he felt good.
Let's talk about Bobby Brown starting to drink his father's beer. A lot of people have this story. Like alcoholism started when he was a little kid. He said like 8, 9 years old.
Yep, cracking beer and drinking
12 when he was talking about that.
Or them leftover swigs that was set down.
That was left in it. Yep.
And that's when it started.
How many times do adults call you from another room and say, "Go get me a beer out the refrigerator,"
and they don't
tell you to
or
clean
go
up.
get my cigarettes from the store,
or tell you to clean up afterwards. And like Bayseine said, that little bit of swig,
that last little swig,
and let me taste this.
Yep. Just like he got the taste of sex.
Correct.
Just like he got the taste of, alcohol. That's going to be a trigger that you don't even know that you're going to have. That's going to lead you down.
Exactly.
So let's talk. He talked about the creation of New Edition. And of course, we all know, y'all know Bobby Brown started New Edition.
Yes, he did.
And he did not get too big. Let's eradicate this myth. He did not quit New Editions because he had a big ego and he wanted to be a star. He said he always wanted to sing with his brothers. So let's be clear. Ricky, so when Ricky said losing can be a blessing as well.
Get out my notes. I was like, that's going on my page. That's going on my
Come on. Because they lost the talent show, but God still had them there where they needed to be.
But do you know how many people have that story? Michael Jordan never made the team. He never made the team, and he became one of the most amazing players ever. Losing and that's what I'm telling you from being a coach. When your kids lose, you have to, and people still recognize you. People would still walk over to us and say, "Hey, you ladies carry yourself."
She's a cheerleading coach.
So they're just pointing stuff out. You understand what I'm saying? What did that guy say? He said they was worried about the $250. Screw that $250.
Bobby said he just wanted to go to the movies. He said I was just trying to get enough money to get girls and go to the movies.
Yes.
Exactly. That was that child mentality.
So think about seriously how poor you are and the environment you come from that your parents can't afford to send you to the movies. So you want to do what you love so you can do something as simple as get girls and go to the movies.
And the first people to get
and spend your own money.
The VCR
you got to ask mama.
He was smiling hard when he said that. He said we was the first ones in the hood to have a VCR. VCR.
Yes. That was just amazing that they also identified who they were early on.
Yeah.
You know how
because Mike and Bobby were the popular ones.
Correct. They talked about Ronnie was smooth, Ricky was slick, Mike was business. They were that young at a young age. They identified exactly who they were at a young age, and we try to break those things out of our kids.
Come on,
break them kids. If you got a kid this is what I always tell people. You got a kid who's always doing something to distract the class. That means they're a leader. That means that they're going to be a Kendall. They need to be in the limelight. So put them in the limelight. Make them be the one to pass out the papers. Make them be the one to write the name on the board.
To help the other kids. Whatever. You know, because in the elementary school, kids love to be like, can I help it?
You got to help their gift. You got to help their gift.
Can I help? Can I help? Like, those are the ones. So true to me.
Yeah. So and if you have a shy kid, just identify that shy kid probably is the best artistic kid, like might be good in art or something. You know, that's what I love, the fact that even though they had so many ups and downs with, you know, their contracts, and but that didn't just happen in New Edition. That happened to the Temptations. Like they said, they didn't know that it was happening to Blue Magic and the Temptations. It was happening to the Black entertainers, because what did those white people do to us? They dangled the dollar in front of us, the dollar and 87 cent that they got when they came off a tour. They dangled the dollar
and the mopeds.
And the mopeds, they dangled things in front of us that we had never seen, and that was the if you talk to LL, if you talk to any of those people came out of New York, it happened. They stole their music and they ran off with their money. So it hurts when it comes from another Black person, but the mentality that they had, because they never had it either. So I mean, it's just, you know, when you sit back and listen to these things, and you listen to the part of, you know, now he couldn't even know how to say thank you, that a street was dedicated to him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and yes, I am going, and we're going.
We're gonna go.
Listen,
we're going.
I'm gonna follow y'all in the car, because I'm riding my motorcycle. My motorcycle got to be in the picture with the Bobby Brown way.
Girl, we going. We going.
We going. We going. Boston ain't far. We going.
So did y'all holler? Because I often talk about this, and they said it. Mike said in Boston. I wanted to be like, no, I was in Jersey too. When he said wrestling and Soul Train came on, because Kareem, my brother, used to want to watch wrestling on the big TV, and I wanted to watch Soul Train. So when he said that, it just makes me proud of our age
and who we are. Yes, the little things. Listen, Saturday morning, got up and hurried up and cleaned the house.
At noon.
Yes, got
chores
up and hurried
chores
up
and Soul Train. Chores and Soul Train.
Hurried up and
you can watch what you wanted until you clean.
So you knew.
And I was done by 11:55.
You wanted to hear that.
Soul Train came on at noon, and I was done by 11:55.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, as a coach, you know, I got to talk about this. Manifesting and speaking your destiny.
Absolutely.
Bobby knew
he
that
spoke
they
it. He said, "We gonna be on Soul Train."
Bobby had a vision, and he wanted to make it plain. He spoke that vision. He spoke it.
And
he spoke it. And then when they were on there, I was like, Bobby said he was gonna do that. He said he was gonna do that.
Yeah.
And Bobby and Mike said, "Why was we moving so fast?"
Well, he said. He was like, the steps was fast. But speaking of fast, so remember when Bobby took over the tour and became the headliner, what did it do? It made them have to step their game up. As
and Ronnie has been quoted saying that.
Yes, it made them. And I also love when they quoted, I think it was Ricky as well, don't quote me, but he said, becoming famous became target for trouble. Everybody wants to be famous. Nobody wants to be behind the scene, but you don't understand. And let me tell you how I know about that. Not the famous part, but I tell everybody I've always been the popular girl.
Always.
And being the popular girl is heavy
so
weight
you would have
on
been
your
with
shoulders.
Mike and Bobby.
There
Y'all
you go. The popular one is always the one that gets targeted first. Because what happens, because we're so outspoken, because we're out on the scene, what happens? You know for a fact, we've experienced it. I hung with the popular girls, and what happened? I ended up having to fight the popular girls because then they became jealous of me.
I'm thinking of two girls. I ain't gonna call them out, but I'm thinking of them two
girls
that was always together.
About. We were, and as soon as I got a little more popular than them, then all kinds of heck broke loose. You know what I mean? But again,
you talking about T and H?
Yep. So that's when, you understand what I'm saying? But again, those are the things where becoming famous, everybody wants to be, our kids today, that's all they know. They want to be TikTok famous. They want to be Instagram famous. Everybody
YouTube famous.
Yeah. And it's not famous with being famous, right? With being famous brings trouble. It brings, just like you, Kendall, you are, as far as I'm concerned, you're famous. And being famous and getting where you're going to go, it's going to bring scrutiny. It's going to bring someone having something to say. It's going to bring all of those avenues. But because you're grounded, you'll be fine. But a lot of times these kids, all of our think
And
about
I'm old.
Right. No, we seasoned. We ain't old. We seasoned. But think
Got
about
wisdom.
all of our childhood entertainers, Todd Bridges, all of the Olsen twins, the this, the that. Think about all of those people that became famous and and ended up with some type of tragedy behind them. You know what I mean? So sorry for my
No, you're fine. All right. So did either one of you get a tear in your eye when you saw Brooke Payne? I did.
Yeah.
Because you see, I'm getting one now. You see how he loved them boys and how it seemed like he was aging a little bit.
Yes.
And that made me like, dang. Yes. You know what I mean? Because
wear and tear.
All of them are still alive to still participate in stuff like this. Because look at some of the other groups that are younger. High Five, they lost a member. You think about Truth. You think about the groups that look up to New Edition that are younger. Each one of them, think about what Somebody Rockin' Knockin' the Boots. What's the H-Town?
H-Town.
Think about
Boys
that. Think about it, right? And then you think about New Edition, and you have Usher on there, and you got Keith Sweat that said, "Who didn't love New Edition?"
But that's what I pointed
out blueprint.
Too. Even men,
the blueprint.
Even men were excited about New Edition. They were a blue, like you said, a blueprint. They definitely was. It's just people. I get all the time. I'm pretty sure if somebody watches it, the groupies. You can call me what you want to call me. We are. I feel like
we are family. I'm sorry.
There you go. And guess what? These people are everyday people, and I'm glad to have the era come up in that era to have been able to sit here and have this conversation about real live stuff, because Bobby went through some the average person couldn't stand strong without.
Think about Jimmy dying in his arms when he was 12 years old,
stabbed and dying, looking in Bobby's eyes.
Right there, and then he looked. Think about that. Think about what Temia just said. So his best friend Jimmy, who they did everything together, 12 years old, he got stabbed. And the last person he saw was Bobby. He died looking in Bobby's eyes. So think about already. He was called special, odd, weird. He was on this little bus, right? So then he gets molested by a priest after he had to be taken out of his home temporarily because he watched his mom get beat by the police. So that's 3 things under 12. Then at 12, he watches his best friend die in front of his eyes. All of this stuff is before 12.
All before puberty.
Before puberty.
And God, you expect this man not to be going in the direction that he went in?
Come on.
Listen, and still, here's the thing.
We're not even talking about his ex-wife dying, his children. We didn't even get there.
We didn't even get there, right? We didn't even get there as an adult. That's why I'm saying when he opened that's when I cried. It wasn't even on a good 2 minutes. When he opened up, like you indicated, and he said,
think about that.
My sobriety is major. And he talked about watching him kiss that tombstone. And not only did he bury those people, they shunned him away from his daughter's funeral. They shunned him away from Whitney. They talked all of those things that took place. Like, you can't even grieve because people are shunning you away.
Like, how are you still walking? How are you still smiling? How are you still living? How are you still loving your kids? How are you saying, I'm going to stay away from drugs? Like, how? Because
joy of the Lord is his strength.
Correct.
If you can't see the God in him and the God covering him, in spite of all the snares and tears that have come his way, and at least 50% of the things came his way, unbeknownst to him going after it.
And that's it right there.
I have argued with people and blocked people when Whitney died, and people were like, it should have been Bobby. People said like that pisses me off. And I block people and I have gone like, how dare you? This
What
is
Rick James say? As far as I'm concerned, you all can go to
Exactly.
with that, okay?
and now people are hearing his story and people are calling me like from years ago. This one girl called me. She was like, girl, you always said that Bobby didn't start Whitney on drugs. And now they said, I'm like, some people coming back from 15 years. I will be, people would be like, if they know me, they'd be like, don't do it.
Don't do it. Right.
In front of her.
Please don't talk about it. Right.
Yeah, just don't do it.
They know as soon as you hear it.
So, and then we're gonna wrap up because I know it's late. And then y'all down for doing part 2 too, whenever y'all can.
I already got my notes.
All right. So let's talk. So when they showed Candy Girl, which came out in '83, and they showed that video, to me, I always think about Demarie, my cousin.
Yes.
It's just New Edition is a tie that tied me and my cousin who passed away. She was 19 and I was 17, and that was like a real major part. So every time, sometimes with New Edition, I get emotional even on that level. And I remember when they came out with Home Again, and they were on that hiatus for a long time.
Yes,
and I remember crying and hearing that. I was like, dang, my cousin, she ain't even here. Like, I want to call her.
Right.
But when they showed the video of Candy Girl and Popcorn Love, Jealous Girl was my song.
Jealous Girl.
All of that. And when they showed, what did y'all think? Right. The O is for originality. Come on. You to me. And the C is just because she loved me. And the O means she the only love I got. What? And the R
and the R and N, and never end.
But when they showed that, what did y'all think when y'all seen them old clips? Because I know y'all seen them over the years, but what did y'all?
I'm 13 again. I just turned 13 again.
Yes. When that song Candy Girl comes on, every one of us just knew that we were sitting on those fences, looking through the gate. We were those girls. Like, we were those I was mad, of course, when this video came out, but to rewatch them over and over again takes you back to where you were in that lifetime. And it was when life was easy. Just listening to your records, kissing them on the wall before you went to school. It just takes you
and
back.
Before I went to sleep at night, because my wall was plastered with posters and pictures.
The ceiling, you saw when you woke up.
I still ask God for forgiveness, because a lot of times when I would buy one magazine, I would tear the pages out another and slip it in the other magazine that I was buying.
It's 7-Eleven. You was doing that at 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
Oh no, I was in CVS and Safeway.
So I want to share an exclusive with y'all, and y'all too don't even know this. I've never talked about it publicly. I've never said anything. I don't know, Temia, you might remember. I don't know if I talked about this when I was younger. So when I was younger, I did like talent and like modeling as a kid, and I did like the same kind of stuff that I do now. I did when I was young, and I had an agent when I was young. And I was up to be in the video of Count Me Out. I've never told the story. And this was around the same time where the agent was trying to get me. I can't remember if this was around the time. It was the same person on the Cosby Show when I was young.
Right, I remember that.
But I wanted to be in Count Me Out video for obvious reasons. And I don't know where we were referred to, but this was a shiesty agent, and we got these pictures done. My mom spent money because you got to sit in your headshot. And when I found out that he never submitted my stuff for the video, I didn't find out till years later. So I was like, Dad, you didn't even pick me.
Right.
I just wanted to be, and I found out that he didn't even submit none. He was So not only did New Edition get used and abused and fight,
you got used and abused.
So did I, and I ain't even get no VCR. I didn't even get no scooter or $1.80. I just thought, look, my self-esteem was probably all
messed up. Right.
But like to me, like who did, like to me it said Bayseine, like who didn't want to be? Like Bayseine talked about, you wanted to be the girl, not like we weren't thinking about sleeping with them back then. We were just thinking about
just wanted to be
just being in their presence, just being in their presence.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk. Do y'all remember? And then we'll end. So let's talk about the Coca-Cola commercial. So they had that. They was making money for that. So they were phenomenon. Like Usher was talking about, and like the fellas were talking about. Like there was nobody that didn't love New Edition. No girls, and even the guys loved New Edition. Like people don't understand now. Younger people are starting to understand their stamp on the world because of the movie, right? But they don't know like New Edition. And let's talk about Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown. I had to school my kids since they was born. I'm like, just like y'all looking at Chris Brown and Usher and Neo. Like, don't get it twisted because Bobby is heavy, because Bobby been in the press, because Bobby went to jail, because he was on drugs, because he was with Whitney. Don't get it twisted. Bobby been a superstar. He been headlining. He
been there, done that.
Been famous. Like what did the reporter Torre said? There was, outside of just throughout the years with his music, there was a year and a half straight that everybody was talking about Bobby. He was on everything. Let's talk about that impact of Bobby.
It was all things Bobby. He had a season of longevity that still stands the test of time to this day. And so many people are trying to emulate, repeat, and want it. They
and the
want what he has accomplished.
Anybody under the table.
Anybody. And it was because, but let's
now my boy Bobby like some uncle at the cookout.
Right.
He's trying to keep up. But that's all right.
But the thing is, it goes back to him being what he indicated in the beginning was he was special. And that's special because
he's a light.
It talks, you never hear him talk about the book smarts and the education. It was the gift that God gave him.
Come on.
And if we don't use the gift, you can have all the accolades in the books that you want.
Come on.
If that's your gift.
Come on.
But the gift, it's a gift. He was a giver.
His gift was to be a performer and an entertainer.
But he was a giver.
He always had a light.
Talked about how the girl. Listen, I don't know if I'm in part 2 or not, but
you in part 2.
I'm sorry, I won't talk about it then. But he was a giver. He was a giver. People don't understand. Even when he didn't have money, look how they went off to the shows. All he wanted to do was perform. He didn't care about nothing else. All he wanted to do was give his gift
and be with his brother.
Be with his brother. He's been a family man from the gate. He's been a giver and he's been talented. It was all the gifts that God gave him. We're out here spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I don't have a problem with education because there's a part of education that will help you. It will help you with your gift. But when you got a God-given gift,
come on.
There's nothing or no one.
Or when God gives you that light,
there you
that's why he is the people's champ. Like he's always had a light on him. He could be standing next to 20 people.
Correct.
And you're going to put your eye on him.
On Bobby.
Like
absolutely.
Look at every album cover of New Edition.
Stands out.
He stands out without even trying outside of the tie wrapped around
his head. But if you didn't know
in
that,
the video, he like pop like everybody doing this. Bobby just
correct. But even if you didn't know, if you didn't hear that part about the tie wrapped around his head, you still would look at that and be like, Bobby looks plain. But he didn't look plain. He just didn't go with the flow. You know, it's just like I said, it's so many things. His gift, his God's given gift, his special. So that goes back to us with autistic kids and kids that maybe are not as smart or not getting the straight A's in school. Those are the kids you better watch out for because their God-given gift is powerful.
It's true.
Powerful.
So for somebody to
it's a uniquely given gift.
Short bus, you, the short bus kid, the one that something is wrong with, you create this group that's still in existence 40 years later. Still touring. You, Bobby Brown, created New Edition.
And he's still humble about that.
He don't talk about that a lot at all.
Never talks about it.
They talk about it. He don't never say how y'all kicked me out of the group I started. Because an average person would have been like, I started the group. How y'all gonna kick me out?
Well, he said it like slightly,
a little bit,
but it wasn't. He just needed y'all to know that that's how he felt, but that's not what he expressed.
Yeah.
He went on and did him. All right, no problem, peace. I'm out. I'm gonna go do me.
And he ran circles around New Edition when it came to album sales, when it came to ticket sales for concerts. And how special are you? And like we all love but Bobby is our favorite. How special are you, right? To get kicked out of the group, and then you're on the same tour bill with them, and you're the headliner.
And then you end up taking over and becoming a headliner. But everybody talking about Ralph, and I don't got, I'm an NE.
Yeah, we love them all.
I'm just saying, we love them all. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I love Bobby. Basically, I'm just Bobby, right? But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, when it comes to thinking about it as a whole, you understand what I'm saying? That man, the millions of dollars that he made, they say, oh, he couldn't have did it without New Edition. Maybe not. But what he put together allowed each one of them, because BBD, they excelled at one point.
But they did it out of necessity.
Correct.
It wasn't because that was their agenda or goal.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? Because they knew, think about it. You know that the two people that most people come to see, Ralph and Bobby, if they leave, they were concerned about their careers and their money.
Correct.
So they was like, let's make it happen.
And the point that
all that comes
Bobby allowed, the part that Bobby allowed his self to be so exposed to the world, good, bad, or indifferent. You see Bobby in every light. You see him as the bad boy, the bad father. Well, he was never a bad father, but if he missed his child support, if he did, he allowed you to see all of that, and he still came back at you like, I'm Bobby. Like, this is who I am.
Think about in the New Edition story. We're talking about the, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the documentary on A&E, Bobby Brown bio. But, and we're talking about part one. We're going to come with all the parts and we're going to have this conversation. This is the first one. We were going to try to make it short, but I don't know how we could have. But
you said that, I was like,
right, I was going to try. I was like, but let me just talk about the New Edition story real quick. When he, Dad, what was I getting ready to say? What was you just talking about, Temia?
The transparency.
Thank you. You just see, I needed you for that. So think about in the New Edition story when they were on the bus and Ricky was like, we all doing this. We all doing the same thing you doing. Ralph and Ricky was like, we all doing the same thing, but we kind of sneaky and putting ours. You just put everything on the table. You just tell everybody this is me, and that's just what you're talking about. Yep. They were doing the same thing.
The same thing.
Bobby got the reputation because what did he say in the movie? Again, I'm going to repeat that again. He said in the beginning, confessions are good for the soul. So he always, that's why he's the people.
But you heard them at the table. What did Ricky say? Ricky was like, yeah, we had this amount of girls in the room. Remember the girl stole his watch and Bobby saw. I said, well, dang, she was about a dummy. But anyway, again, I'm saying that to say that just what you said, they were all doing I'm pretty sure they were
weren't
all
as squeaky
smoking.
Clean as their image wanted them to be.
Because how many people didn't
be restrained anymore?
How many people didn't know that Ricky, got high like he got high?
Nobody knew to the New Edition story 40 years later.
40 years later. That one, now, there's not a lot of things that shock me in these stories. But
or that we don't know. Or that we don't know.
But that one right there, that one was like.
That was a new one.
Yes.
That was
again, again, it goes back to saying that they were all doing it, but Bobby got the rap for everything that went down.
You know, one of my favorite things that, you know how they were going around in the beginning, y'all, and they were talking about Bobby is an innovator. Bobby is a this. And they had to describe him. Ronnie's
I love it. Yes.
response was my favorite.
Yes.
He was like, he's my brother.
He's my brother. Yes.
And I loved it because they was just like, he a dancer, he an entertainer, he a this. He was like, Bobby is my brother. That was the best one to me.
You just like it because Ronnie's your friend now.
I know.
I'm only kidding.
We friends, you know. Hey, Ronnie. Hey, Shamari. I love y'all.
Yo, this was awesome, ladies. True. I'm so glad that you brought us both on. I'm so glad.
I want y'all, before we end, at the end, I want y'all to talk. I want y'all quickly to touch on Rick James being Bobby's mentor.
Mentor.
Bobby said when he saw, y'all go ahead. Y'all talk about that.
Go ahead, Bayseine.
I read that in one of the Right On books. And I told my sister Leslie, I said, I have to, because we had doors to our rooms. Well, the back room had like a door that was closed off to the middle room. So my wall was done already with the posters and stuff. So I said, Leslie, can I put the pictures of who they like on that part? Because I wanted that part to stand out. So I do remember that Ronnie like Luther Vandross. Mm-hmm. Ricky, I think, was Jeffrey Osborne. Ralph, of course, was Michael Jackson.
Was Osborne, yeah.
But I can't remember who Michael Bivins said. But when Bobby said Rick James, my sister was like, "You gonna put Rick James?"
But he said he learned and he trained from watching. He opened to them. Yeah. Go ahead, Temia.
No, and that's what my sister said. Yeah, my sister said, so that means he act like Rick James.
And if you look at the way his appearance, the way that he does things, and I'm sitting there, like, I knew it, but the way they broke it down tonight, like how he sat on the side and Rick allowed him to sit on the side and just. That's not nobody to look up to, but I guess, hey, listen, thank you, Rick, for, because he stole all his moves.
Compare Super Freak video with Every Little Step.
To Every Little Step. Absolutely.
Let me tell y'all, when Every Little Step came out, I will watch that video on BET and MTV like 1,000 times a day. I just
gave me permission to do biker pants.
Because y'all remember when they used to premiere video, when videos used to be a thing, they used to premiere and play it all day.
All the day.
And I would wait.
As I got home from school.
We had them little biker shorts on.
Girl. And we went and bought some to put some on too. Honey, yes. One thing, Kendall, that I love today that they said was that he was the flyest bench warmer on the team.
Yes! They said he rolled the bench. He was flying. They said Bobby never played.
They said he never played. They said he never played, but everybody was excited to see Bobby because he would come in the best dressed player that rode the bench. So everything that he does now is not a front. It's who he was at 10 and 12 years old.
He also had the most chains too.
The most chains. So if I ever get to ask Bobby a question again, which I know I will, because I'm gonna see him again, because he's our people. He might
be on Bobby Brown way.
I'm gonna ask them facts. I'm gonna ask them, where's the Flash B belt buckle?
Come on! Did you notice he had Slick first? I was like,
and
that was Ricky.
Flash B.
But Flash B. Real fans know about Flash B.
Flash B, yes.
That's what's on my pants. My last concert had the initials and Flash B.
Yes. I'm gonna be like,
what's Bobby's middle name, y'all?
Oh, now you try to make
Beresford.
Beresford Brown.
Beresford.
Listen, where I am right now, I just couldn't think. Yeah, that's what it be. Yeah.
What's his favorite color, Bayseine?
Red. I got it on. Red.
I was going to say red. That's why I wore them red sneakers all my life.
And his favorite dessert is cheesecake.
His color red, but I couldn't get the right. It was like orangey. So I was like,
nope, red.
I'm gonna try to.
His favorite dessert His favorite dessert is cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Yep. It's cheesecake.
I tasted it, but I couldn't deal with it. I had to eat the cake out of the middle part.
Bobby's birthday is in February. What's the date?
February
6th.
6.
I was number
March
6 for the
5th.
book signing. 6.
669. I'm March 5th, 69. Yes, we are right there. I'm sorry.
I was 12.
Me and him came in the world around the same time together. Our parents was pregnant together. How about that?
And before we end, Tommy looked good. Everybody is aging pretty well. His brother Tommy.
He does look good. He looks really good.
His skin look good.
He looks really, really good. He does.
I'm just excited that I wouldn't want to do this one with anybody else. People go through, some people might watch it and some people going to love it and be like, just get to the point. You can't please everybody. But all the new edition lovers is going to appreciate this. I'm going to tell y'all on my YouTube page, if you go to New Edition Central, the playlist, you'll see all mine. And my New Edition video that I talked about the concert, the culture tour, that's had the most hits on my YouTube page. So what that tells me is people are coming over here to see New Edition. People are coming. I'm just going to look how many. It has 22,000 views.
Wow.
And I'm talking about New Edition.
Wow, that's amazing.
Amazing.
Well,
he ain't the only ones.
Correct. Well, the thing was when we went to Hollywood and we stood out in that rain.
That was a beautiful experience.
It was the most beautiful experience because what do they say? Black women don't get along. Black people can't be in the same environment. When I tell you we were
doing in the rain to me?
We were singing, Can You Stay in the Rain? We were sharing umbrellas. Nobody was jipping in front of nobody, pushing nobody down. Nobody. It was calm.
Because New Edition brings calm community.
There you go. It was. They said that his star next to Michael Jackson, their star was the most represented in Hollywood.
They said out of all the stars, they've never seen people
other than Michael Jackson.
Somebody with a star like that.
Other than
I'm
Michael
not surprised.
Jackson. Yes.
I'm not surprised.
They said they couldn't believe. We took over the town of Hollywood.
We did.
Everywhere you look, yes, everywhere you look that weekend, you saw any person. And the friends that I have still on my Facebook page from that weekend has just been amazing. I mean, not friends, but associates. But I'm just saying, it's just how music, let's just say in general, because music will stop anything. It has no color, it has no race, it has nothing. Because did you notice the white girls that was in the crowd that was screaming just as loud as the little black girls? So even though they went through what they went through in being bussed into another area and those things, it was still their music.
At the concert, I see that the white girls with the slick girls and the bamboo earrings.
There you go, with the bamboo earrings or the hair braided like Bo Derek. So, But this was awesome, guys. I can't wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. So were y'all surprised to see each other?
Yes, I was absolutely surprised. Yes, absolutely surprised.
I'm so glad it's family and I'm just like this.
Couldn't nobody else do this interview but us. Nobody.
Y'all couldn't.
Nobody.
And you see, we excited, I'm talking over them. She talk. This is just exciting for us to talk about. Bobby Brown is our favorite. We love all the fellas, but Bobby Brown is the fellas' favorite too. That's why they all, I just love the brotherhood and we're going to go, but how it just warms my heart when I see all of them there talking about when they were little and how their brothers, because everybody's in their 50s. So to talk about that and to share memories like that, they're like for real brothers.
They are. They definitely are.
And
I just told my granddaughter who turned 16 this weekend, we were talking about Bobby Brown. And this is what I said to her. And I used to tell her this when she was a little girl. I said, you do know, because I was married and my last name was what? Brown. Okay, anyway. So I told her, I said, you know your grandfather is Bobby Brown. May Dwayne rest in peace. But I used to tell her that all the time.
Why is my father's name Bobby though?
Right. So again, I had the opportunity of carrying the last name Brown, so I don't take that lightly. Okay, so I was Mrs. Brown. Okay, Bayseine.
She was.
Well, I adopted a Cabbage Patch, and it's Bobby Brown Jr. That's the first Bobby Brown Jr.
Love you guys.
All I got is my father's Bobby. Was Bobby.
Right.
That's all I got.
Bobby. That's all I got.
But thank y'all. So we're gonna do part 2. If you love this, please comment, share, like this. If you know someone who loves Bobby Brown like us, well, almost like us, because I think
this is all things Bobby.
All things Bobby. So please share this, like and subscribe to my channel. Thank y'all so much. Temia, Bayseine, thank y'all.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Make sure you watch into Bobby Brown's bio on A&E.
A&E.
You can catch it. They're going to continuously run it, like Bayseine, record it, but definitely see it so you can be a part of this conversation. Good night, y'all.
Good night, guys.